Hi, this is Cheryl McQueen, designer with Bello's Designs. We all love creating our own backgrounds, but sometimes you don't have the time or would like to create multiples that don't all look the same. Today, we're going to look at using 3 stamps with various pre-printed backgrounds to create many moods. So here are some examples of some that I have made up, and then we will do our own throughout this tutorial, but I just wanted to show you the variety of ways that you can do it. This one, as you can see, has many different colors from the background, and I went ahead and used a sentiment with this particular one. Also, if you will look on our stamp, this is how the original bridge stamp looks. This one, I went ahead and masked out the lower part. So you can create very different looks and moods just by varying just a few little items when you create your card. Let's go ahead and take a look at the supplies that we're going to be using today. The things that I use are the pre-printed backgrounds. There are very large numbers of varieties that you can choose from. So let's take a look here. Lavinia has a lot of wonderful pre-printed backgrounds. And here are just a few of them. All of these you can find on the delbellosdesigns.com website. But as you can see, there is just so many choices. All different colors, all different patterns, just a great variety. There is also Craft Consortium. This one has some really cool ink blot kind of looking backgrounds. Got various colors that you can choose from with that. This is also a Craft Consortium, and this one is called Grunge. And it has a lot of great different backgrounds. This particular card is done with the Grunge. This is done with the ink drops, and this is done with the Lavinia Scenescape. And today we'll use a Lavinia Scenescape for creating the card that I'll demonstrate. We're only going to be using 3 different stamps today. What I want to do is show you that using those same 3 stamps, you can just get a really variety of moods and looks using the pre-printed cards. So we will be using the Fairy Bridge. This one is LAV 177. We will be using the Forest Scene. This one is LAV 524. And we'll be using Birds, which is LAV 097. For stamping, we're just going to go ahead and use the VersaFine Clair Nocturne. Now for a little bit of elements that you might want to add, you can use some art markers. You can also use a fine tip black pen like this to just add a few little details, or you can use the Signo white Uniball pen and create some snow effects. To work on our placement, I've got my stamping platform here. I've got a sticky grid down so that I don't have to use magnets for keeping my cards in place. Then when we put our card together, we will use the adhesive tape, or you can use a paper glue to put your card together as well. We'll be using a white piece of cardstock to create a frame around our project. This one is cut to 5 inches by 3.5 inches. And then for our card background, I've just taken some cardstock. This is 8.5 by 11, cut it in half, and then just folded that piece in half. All right, so let's get started working on our project. So before we get together putting it all together, let me just go ahead and show you that this particular card was made using the Craft Consortium Grunge Light Tones. And I chose this particular sheet and basically turned it this direction and then did my placement for before I cut the card. For this one, I used the Craft Consortium Ink Drops Monochrome. And for this card, I used the Lavinia Scenescapes, and this one is called Orange Hues. For today's project, we're going to go ahead and use the Scenescapes from Lavinia, and this one is called Sea Breeze. All right, so let's go ahead and clear our examples out of the way here and grab the stamping platform. So what I did was I took my lay these, go ahead and remove these little pieces of paper. If you'd like to have little pieces of scrap paper around so that you don't, if you use a sticky grid, that you don't get your ink on the background of your sticky grid, this is what I use to keep it cleaner. So what I did was I took my inside sheets, let's see, let's grab this. So this little clear sheet that all of the stamps come on is a really great tool for helping you to figure out your layout. You know, where do you want this? Do you want it up higher, lower? It just kind of helps you to kind of figure that out. So with this one, I think I'm going to set it right about there, because to me that just kind of gives the look of the water, and then a little bit of sky background there. Let me go ahead and see if we can't zoom in just a little bit so you can see it a little closer. All right, so I've got my sticky grid down, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this right about where I decided that I wanted my design. And then we will ink up our stamp. And go ahead and do our stamping. Now sometimes with the texture of your pre-printed cards, you may have to stamp twice in order to get a really sharp image. Especially if you have a little more solid stamp. Let's see how we do with this one. So I'm just going to hold it down because it's a little bit different. It's a little slicker paper. It doesn't absorb the ink as quickly as you might on the multifarious or whatever type of paper that you use. So just give it an opportunity to kind of soak in. All right, let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks really nice. All right, so now we can move on to our trees. And this is where, since I used the sticky grid and I don't want it to get all messed up, where I go ahead and just add a little bit of scrap paper on the side. And so that when it overlaps, then I don't get my sticky grid all messed up. So now I'm going to place my trees, and I think I want it to kind of sit on the top of that little hill. I actually might need another little piece up here at the top. All right, so I've got that lined up where I want it. Again, if you want to use your clear sheet to get a really good idea of how it's going to line up, you can do that. And that just helps you to see, get a little visual ahead of time. All right, let's ink up our stamp. With this particular stamp, sometimes I have to stamp it twice because the trunks of the trees don't get quite as dark as I like with my first pass, but let's see how it works this time. And again, I'm taking a little extra time just to make sure that this slick paper will kind of pick up our ink just a little bit better. Okay, that looks pretty good. I like that. Now we will take our stamp and put it on the other side. And just place that down where we want it. And again, press really nice and hard. Give that paper a chance to absorb the ink. And another really nice impression there. And now we're just going to go ahead and move on to putting our birds into the scene. Now, if you wanted to add a sun or a moon, you can also do that just like you do on any of your other cards by taking your sun or moon mask and creating that before you stamp your birds or your other background or your other stamping elements. It works just the same as it does with your regular paper, so whatever you want to do, you can do. We can tell with this one, that one I went ahead and added a sun element to it. All right, so now we can go ahead and remove this from our stamping platform. This is a new sticky grid sheet, so it sticks very well. All right. Set our stamping platform aside. Now this is where you can either leave this exactly as it is, or you can add some elements to it. I think I would like to go ahead and just color in on the bridge and some of the rocks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to get them to stand out just a little bit from the scene. Okay, so that just gives it a little bit of dimensionality and a little bit of separation from the rest of the background and makes it stand out a little bit more. Now if you'd like to, you can always take a fine tip black pen and just add some little elements. You can add a little grass around the base of the tree if you'd like to. If you just want to sharpen up some of the look. This scene actually doesn't need a whole little bit much of adding to it. We'll just ground those trees just a tiny little bit. Now if you'd also like to, if you want to turn it into a winter scene, which I think I'm just going to leave it as it is, but you can take a white Signo pen or some kind of gel pen and just add white to your branches and to your bridge, kind of like what we did in this particular example. This one is the one that I made to look like a winter scene. And that's basically all we need to do. Again, as I said, any elements that you want to add, this is the point in time that you would do that. All right, let's go ahead and put our card together. One of the fun things about creating your cards and trying to get different and varied looks is that another way that you can change the way that your card looks is the color of your cardstock. So I've chosen two here that we'll take a look at. Let's start out by taking our white piece of cardstock to create our frame. And we will take our adhesive tape, just run that along the edges. And then just mount our card into the center. And then choose our background. So if we take one that's a little more teal look, then we get one that looks like this, pulls out the teal colors. Or if we use a blue background, then this just pulls out more of our blues. And I can't decide which one I like. Let's go ahead and go with the blue. And what we're going to do is the same process. Turn our card over. And mount that onto our card base. Let's see. And there we have it. A very quick, simple card, and one that can be done in just such a variety of ways to get a variety of moods and effects. And as I said before, creating multiples like this is a very quick and fast process. Thank you so much for watching my video tutorial today. Pre-printed backgrounds are a fabulous way to create cards quickly and achieve beautiful effects. You can use just a few stamps on different backgrounds to create fun and unique multiples. I hope you give it a try. Remember to check out more tutorials on the design team page at bellows designs.com. Have a great day.